Now, thank you very much for waiting, and we'd like to start Roundtable B. And on the stage, we have panelists, and let me introduce ILO Senior Specialist Occupation Safety and Health TWA broker, Ms. Ujita Yuka, and the President of the International Association of Labor Inspection IALA, Mr. Seong-hee Vo, and Director of Central Prevention Division DGUV, Mr. Sven Tim, and the Executive Director of OSHC, Ms. Bonnie Yao. So these are the four panelists. So we like to ask Mr. Takeda to moderate the session, please. Thank you very much. We'd like to start the Roundtable B, and I will continue to serve as a moderator. Well, as introduced, we have four leaders in the global arena belonging to important organizations. And today, from Hong Kong and from Germany, we have invited the leaders, and we are very curious to see what kind of activities are happening in these countries. To start, we'd like to ask the four people to speak. And the first speaker is Ms. Ujita, who is the senior specialist of ILO. And in Geneva, she has served in this organization. So she is a global player from Japan. And I'm very happy to hear from her about the ILO. Mr. Takeda, thank you very much for the kind introduction, and hello everybody. I am Ujita Yuka from ILO, and my theme is No One Left Behind. So I want you to understand what ILO is doing, and together with you for creating the safe and healthy work, what we can do is the topic. Among you, have you ever heard ILO? And raise your hand if you know what ILO is. Thank you. So probably you've heard of it as a name, but unfortunately, compared with WHO, in Japan, our visibility is lower. So let me introduce our organization. It was established in 1919. We are a UN specialized agency for working and the labor. And our uniqueness is that we are the only tripartite structure in the UN, having governments and workers and employers. Therefore, our tools and our decisions are based upon the tripartite agreement after discussions and the commitment by the three parties. And in 1919, at the very beginning, our commitment and the element include the OSH. And seeing Japan from the very beginning, the country is a big contributor, and the director and the board always have from the business and from the government of Japan and from the labor union, the representative are joining our board meeting from Japan. Thank you very much for that. And here's decent work. That is our target and goal. This is untranslatable to Japanese. That's why we use decent work per se. So briefly speaking, decent work means that workers will work with motivation happily. That's the concept of decent work. Toward that goal, we are working hard. So, in what way we support the member states? This is described here. Our mission is, one of the missions is to advise the policy for a country, for a region, or for sector. We provide advice for policy. And here's another aspect. We support to the site directly through training, and if there is a problem, we got together and discuss. And ILO has different tools for these activities, and we are tripartite. Therefore, that means that the government and the labor and the employees work together and discuss. The most important tool of ILO is the international labor standards. There are two kinds of standards. One is the convention. That's legally binding. It's not a law, but it has a binding power. And the another is the warning. That's almost like a guideline. And the 190 conventions exist, and among them 40 or so are direct or indirect OSH-related labor safety and the health-related issues, and the 155 is the occupational safety and health OSH. And so here, every year, you will go through a medical test, and at a company, you have a physician or nurses, and you monitor the working places. That is 151. And the 187 is about the framework to have the policy and the sector by sector, such as agricultural safety or the construction safety. There are different types of asbestos convention, or the occupational cancer, or the chemical agent treatment convention. Those are the types of convention we have, and we have a global strategy. It's a little bit old because 2003, it's almost 20 years old, and we are trying to revise it. The first element is the preventive safety and health culture. This is important because when you, in order for you to understand that safety and health at the working place, and you have to materialize, that's important. I'm a doctor, I'm a physician, and when we see a patient, that patient needs to understand his or her disease, and he needs to have a willingness to recover. Otherwise, you cannot cure, because I'm not a magician. Even with a perfect cure, if there's no willingness to be cured, it doesn't work. Meaning the manager and the workers needs to have a willingness to make it better. You cannot make it happen. That is the preventive safety. And the second point is system approach to OSH. PDSA cycle is used, so continuously you improve OSH. That's the second pillar. Now, on top of these, roundtable A speakers already touch upon these topics here. And the last year in June, at the meeting of ILO, many speakers decided an important decision. The basic rights exist. We know that includes freedom of association and the elimination of all forms of forced labor or the discrimination needs to be eliminated. These are the fundamental rights. But on top of them, the safe and the healthy working environment is added as a basic right. This is quite significant because how this right works, well, after this declaration, all the sites and all the workers, including women or men or old and young, whatever the nationality is, or whatever the employment format, even a gig worker or the seasonal workers or the part-timers, they need to enjoy this right of safe and healthy working environment. This is a big step forward, isn't it? Together with it, the two pillars and the standards, that becomes the fundamental OSH conventions, which each member has to rectify as soon as possible. For Japan, the 187, Japan rectified for the first time other than any countries, and the 155 will be rectified soon, hopefully, by Japan. And specifically, what we need to do is as follows: that we need to have an authority responsible for OSH. So METI is, or the MHLW is applicable for that. And we need to have the applicable law, and the OSH law needs to be established. And we, Japan, have a 5-year plan, and the 14th 5-year plan, that is a well-established system at Japan. And ILO developed 5 flagship program, and one of them is the OSH, meaning safe and healthy environment needs to be provided to everyone. So there are many donor countries and the businesses to make a project. There are 26 projects, and these countries are participating. So it's about 13 billion yen donated by the members. And Japanese government is a big donor, and I'm responsible for the Asia Pacific, and there are this many projects running. And here is the Vision Zero Fund under a flagship, and this is like a big wallet, meaning that the donors, global supply chain safety, for instance, were the target, and the G7 was the driver, and the Germany was the host. And here is the former or the late Abe, and the Obama and the Merkel participated this G7 meeting, and where we came up with the Vision Zero Fund. And every tiers from top to bottom, including subcontractor and sub-subcontractors, those will be entitled to enjoy this fund. And 3 weeks ago, since Japan will be the host company for G7 this year, and in Kurashiki in Okayama, the ministerial meeting was held, and our DG came to Japan, and the Kurashiki Declaration was adopted back then, and this is the summary of them. Take a look at this. In the Kurashiki Declaration, OSH, there are 2 OSH-related declarations, especially the health and well-being is stipulated here. This means that the top-level people made a commitment now. So what is the next step? So this is a global commitment, and for our country, the tri-party agreed, and we have tools, and the specialists from the global arena support us, and we have 20 specialists in this hall, so we are ready. Then what? What we can do from different perspective and point of view, we'd like to promote OSH, and the Expo 2025 is a big momentum. It's not just workers, but their families and the community and the children. Those will come to visit us there. We'd like to revisit the importance of safety and the health in the working place. And not only workers, but the people around workers needs to recognize the importance. That's why ILO, together with you, would like to give the momentum to that. Thank you very much for your listening. Thank you.
Then we'd like to start the next presentation. The President of National Association of Labor Inspection, Senior Director, Mr. Seon-Hin Ho. Seon-Hin Ho is the director of the Singapore institution, and at the same time in Singapore, in the working very active in the labor health field, and also the president of the yearly International Association Laborers Inspection. He's going to deliver speech from a yearly point of view. Mr. Hon, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, for the kind introduction. Good morning to everyone once and for all. And today, I'm representing the International Association of Labor Inspection. I come from Singapore, and my name is Ho Seong-Hin. Now, today my presentation will cover basically overview of ILE. I think as Dr. Ujita was saying, a lot of people know ILO, but not many people know about ILE. So I'll give a quick overview. Emerging challenges faced by labor inspection, worldwide especially, and how Vision Zero come into place, and how labor inspection can work together with Vision Zero to further the cause to protect worker safety and health and well-being. Now, the International Association of Labor Inspection, or ILE in short, was actually first established back in 1972. So we are 51 years now. We are a global professional association for labor inspection. We have 100 over plus network members. All labor inspection from any country or labor inspector union from any country can join as a member of the ILE. We aim to help working people in the field of health and safety all over the world, our members, to build capability. That means the ability to discharge your work to promote safety and health. Now, our traditional approach in labor inspection, your always been primarily focused on preventing accidents, that's safety at workplaces, enforcing very prescriptive laws and ensuring compliance. That's a traditional role. Labor inspection standards are usually benchmarked against safety, performance, and standards. Inspection at defined workplaces, there's workplaces that's clearly defined, this is a workplace, and the labor inspection has a role to go in there. And the complex web of regulation, all kinds of law and standards and convention that the labor inspection has to deliver. But these are no longer valid because these are challenges labor inspection are facing. The new form of employment, where the blurring of line between what's an employer, what's an employee, the platform work clearly show that. And if you have an existing law that do that, your labor inspection will not be able to function there. New technology like industrial robots and AI, new changing nature of work and workplaces, right? Where remote working, where is considered a workplace. Now working from home is quite prevalent. Do you consider that as a workplace? Does your law support you to be able to go in there and check whether the workplace is suitable or not? Psychosocial risks and well-being issues, the main topic for today's event. And this is coming on more and more. And you hear the reason why also. And then for labor inspection, what are the advisory role that you have to provide versus what is inspection role? Now, what can we do? What can be done? Yes, law need to be amended to make sure that we can cover those workplaces. The labor inspector must be better equipped with the knowledge and skills to be a change agent. That means make things work rather than just enforcing law. leveraging on technology, key enablers. The technology of today in this exhibition and the Expo 2025 will indeed help us constantly upgrade and develop our broad-based skills, whether technical or even soft skill. We have a continual role in engaging as well as enforcing. We still need enforcement, but more and more we need more engaging and promotional. And the pandemic has made us know that we need to be better prepared for the future. So these are some of the challenges and what can we do. Now, as labor inspection continue to evolve, traditionally we are on the type A. We do enforcement, we are very reactive, we go to incident and address it. A lot of time, even adversarial. That means we are here, it's about the law, and people fight you. The companies fight you, even the unions fight against you, right? It's hard to sell, and you're basically hard selling and telling people what to do. Labor inspection, traditional rule. But really, today's world, those no longer work. You need to be proactive, you need to be preventive. You need to work in close partnership. Labor inspection need to work in close partnership with the various stakeholders. We are looking at problem solving. There are a lot of legal aspects of it because labor inspection, when you go to workplaces and try to help to problem solving together, you may take on that liability. Some of our labor inspectors in my International Association of Labor Inspection told us, how do you protect a labor inspector from legal liability? But let's look at it separately. You have to do soft selling, as well as how to power of influence of change, changing behavior. And that's a critical role of the labor inspection. So this is where Vision Zero come in. But first, look at what is this Vision Zero all about. It's a concept for sustainable prevention. It's about continuing improving. It's a culture of prevention as well. It calls for a shift of a labor inspection traditionally involving enforcement of prescriptive laws to ensure compliance, where Vision Zero emphasizes on engagement and education. Changing the mindset from a blame culture to a culture of learning. Because labor inspection, when you go down for inspect, you always find fault. Find out who is at fault and how to blame. But really, in Vision Zero culture, it's about learning from mistake, learning from incidents, and how to prevent the next one. To help labor inspectors to do this, the ILE, together with ISA, are collaborating to develop a Vision Zero guide to help labor inspection to be able to carry out their work in this new world called Vision Zero culture. So for Vision Zero, what it means to us is basically a mindset that all work-related injuries and ill health are preventable. It's a clear mindset that looking at it on prevention. It's a culture of care, culture of trust, before you have culture of prevention. And in the workplace, what you must see is a progressive workplace safety and health practices, where near-miss reporting is prevalent. Because the more you report near misses, meaning that you want to learn from near misses to prevent a big case from happening, and systematically address root cause analysis as well. So labor inspection plus Vision Zero come across as to adopt a preventive and proactive approach. We carry out joint inspection with Vision Zero companies to mitigate these hazards, sharing latest information and knowledge, collaborating with our social partners to promote workplace safety and health, and development of policies and programs to promote safety and health and well-being, and how to prevent them as well. Provide training and education to employers and workers on safety, health, and well-being issues, and how to prevent them. So these are some of the things that labor inspection together Vision Zero work together we need to do. So in short, we in ILA believes that by adopting the concept and approaches of Vision Zero, labor inspection will be better equipped to be a change agent in helping stakeholders to achieve better safety and health outcomes, and more importantly, in a more sustainable manner. So the Vision Zero guide that's going to be produced by ILE and ISA aims to provide labor inspectors with the necessary understanding and tools to help them in discharging their roles in a more effective manner. So on that note, I'd like to thank you for your attention and hope that helps. Thank you.
はい、どうもありがとうございました。はい、それじゃあ次にですね、ドイツ
Thank you very much. We'd like to go to the Dr. Sven Tim. DGUV is the founder, one of the founder of the Vision Zero, and currently also Dr. Dim is in the main position of ISA. So we'd like to hear from you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Takeda. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure to be here with you. And I'm giving you some information about the organization I come from. And later on, I will focus on the main activities we are tackling at DGOV in Germany. Germany is a complicated country when it comes to occupational safety and health. We have two branches caring for. On the one hand, the State Labor Inspection, already represented and introduced by Seo Hong-hin. Thank you for this. And on the other hand, my organization is caring for it, and with its members, of course. It's DGOV, and there are member organizations. Basically, we are in insurance, but we also enforce occupational safety and health within the companies. Our scheme was already introduced nearly 140 years ago at the Chancellor Bismarck, together with other elements of the social insurance scheme in Germany. So you can see the founding date of our organizations is 1884. What are we doing, and how is the system financed? The accident insurance scheme in Germany is solely financed by the employers. This is different to the other social insurance schemes we have in Germany. The accident insurance is self-administered, so the ones who have a guess what's going on within the company, what is going on at work, are the employers, the entrepreneurs, as well as the employees. And they are forming the board of representatives of our organization. We call it self-administration, 50-50. And actually we have 9 organizations, members of DGOV, who are caring for industry and trade, and others which are regional organizations caring, accident insurance institutions caring for the public sector, and especially for children, pupils and students, and voluntary people who are doing voluntary work. We are covering approximately 4 million companies and organizations, majorly small and medium-sized enterprises. The concept in Germany is that all employees, as well as children in daycare centers and schools, as well as students, are covered by the scheme. It's a compulsory insurance. And that means that any company has to become a member of one of our organizations. The system is that the liability is transferred to the scheme, except for cases from the employer to the social accident insurance institution, except for the cases where an employer violates in gross negligence, or because he wanted to, the regulations. We are providing 3 kind of services, majorly prevention, and this is covering occupational accidents, commuting accidents, the way to work or school or university, and the way back home, and occupational diseases. Our legal mandate is to prevent occupational accidents, occupational diseases, and work-related health hazards, and we are very happy about that. In our law, there is a general clause which says, with all suitable means. And it's up to our board of directors, composed of employers' representatives as well as of workers' representatives, the insured ones, to decide what are the suitable means. We also have to care in the field of rehabilitation to restore health and performance of the insured with all suitable means after an accident has happened or an occupational disease occurred. And of course, the classical insurance part of it, we award money compensation to the insured, or in sad cases of fatalities, to the surviving dependents. So we have a general approach which says prevention comes first. The better we are in prevention, the less we have to pay for rehabilitation and provide rehabilitation services. And the better we are in rehabilitation, the less we have to invest in compensation. When it comes to occupational safety and health at the workplaces, we are promoting this, and we are following, on the one hand, a Vision Zero approach, but we are providing concrete services where there are inspection. We provide incentive services, for example, for the introduction of occupational safety and health management systems. We provide consultation, and we are supervising with occupational physicians and OSH professional requirements the work environment. We assess accidents and diseases. This is a legal mandate within our law dealing with occupational accident insurance or statutory accident insurance. We have research institutes dealing with natural, scientific, engineering, medical, as well as well-being aspects, 3 of them. Of course, information consultation is a major topic. Testing and certification is also included, and we provide rules and regulations which are binding as well. And last but not least, we qualify workers, employers, workers' council representatives, approximately 400,000 a year. When it comes to our priorities, I can say that majorly, actually, we are focusing on health and well-being, because there is a lack of skilled workers. So we have to care of our workers. And also the German companies have now a guess on it, because they have to struggle to find good workers, skilled workers, healthy workers. So we help to improve this thing. Second, we are focusing on small and micro enterprises, which make up more than 90% of the enterprises in Germany and employ more than 60% of the workforce. There, the approach is a more simple one. It's Vision Zero and the support services I already introduced to you. So focusing on micro and small enterprises, and last but not least, spreading the necessary information on occupational safety and health, continuing this, enforcing this, and improving this in order to reaching the unreached up to date. Thank you very much.
はい、ありがとうございました。
Thank you
それ
very
では
much.
午前中最後のプレゼン
The last, but not the least, presenter, the Executive Director, Occupational Safety and Health Council, OSHC, Ms. Bonnie Yao, will give the final presentation. She is working very vividly, specifically speaking, like policy deployment is reported to us. And Ms. Yao, please, the floor is yours. Thank you, Mr. Takeda.
Kind introduction. And this is the last minute I can say. Ohayo gozaimasu, Osaka. Thanks for having us here. In the next 6 minutes or so, I'm going to share with you an example of how Hong Kong, we help the small and medium enterprises to start well-being program at their workplace, and how we promote the best practices among all companies. So first, a little bit about our council. We were established by law in 1988, and we see ourselves as a hub because we believe in collaboration. So we draw people together to work on some of the common causes. And today I'm talking about an example that we draw the health ministry as well as the labor ministry and as well as us and companies to work for the well-being of the employees. At the panel A, they have already talked about what is health, and I want to talk a little bit more about the WHO's definition of mental health. It is a state of mental health well-being that enables people to cope with stresses of life and to realize their abilities, to learn well and work well, and to contribute to their communities. And this is what we also believe when we are promoting well-being and promoting mental health well-being. So how do we start workplace well-being programs for the small and medium enterprises? We have a charter with more than 3,000 companies now. We ask them to sign the charter, and then we will provide them with free resources. Currently, there are more than 1 in every 5 employees will be covered by our programs. And how do we empower the employees? First, I said that we will be sending them free support and free facilitation. We will send them like this. We will have free posters. And this, they would remind them that they have to be careful of central obesity, because central obesity would have a very high incidence of diabetes and all that. So we having posters there to remind them that they have to take care of their own health. And some of the time, people don't know whether they are healthy or not. They say, I'm okay. But so we send them with some of the health check kits, their flexibility, their blood pressure, their body fat analyzer, such that when we send all these kits to the whole kit to the companies, and the companies can have a self-checking program. People will say, oh, I am not really very healthy. I need to do more exercises. I need to eat healthily. So we start them thinking about their own health. And we think that because all the set is just on loan, and we want to have something that left behind, such that the company can use them as often as they wish. So we have a blood pressure monitor, put for all the companies that they wish to have, and then because we do know that some of the employees, they have very high blood pressure and they don't know, and if they are starting some health program, they need to check that regularly. So this is a very helpful, a very cheap but helpful monitor to be placed in the companies. And we also empower the employees to be active and mentally healthy and eat. What we do is that we have many programs for them. We have a dietitian to tell them what to eat when you go out, what not to eat and what to eat. We have Santango drawing. I think that this is rather popular in Japan. And we have Tai Chi ball exercises. We have the coach going to the companies during lunchtime to help them to start this, such that they know how to do this themselves. And we also empower the employees to take charge of their mental health. We have relaxation exercises. We have self-applied acupuncture. This is also the coach going to the companies, and the coach during the lunchtime tell them what to do. Besides that, we have webinars. We have social media posts. How to do simple relaxation exercise is just one post away. So we do have that, and then the people could just adopt it and use it. More than that, we have mental first aid courses free of charge for all the companies that they can send their employees and the HR personnel to us. We have some workshop, we have online seminars, and of course, I just mentioned about the social media posts. But we think that this is not enough. So what we do is that we have one-on-one consultation. If the company is interested, we send a coach, someone who is very familiar with how to run programs within the company to them. First, we have a survey to see, what's the need of the company? And then we have on-site study to see, this is what they need. And then we have a consultation how they can run the program, which is tailor-made to that company. And then after the proposal, half year after that, the coach would call them up and say, hi, how is your program running? Do you have any problems? Do you need to have some changes and all that? This is the basic things that we are helping them. But we want to raise the bar. We want to help them to have a continuous improvement. So how do we do that? We have competition. The competition first, when we have annually, we have this competition. We announce the award, and then we have the judging criteria. This is very important because it's like all tests. What you are asking would lead to the students to study that area. So we will be asking something that I would talk about a little bit later, such that they would know that what they need to focus. And then, of course, we will have judging panel. And the more important is that we have a ceremony like this, such that the awardees will be there to present what they have done, such that people would know that, oh, this is a very good practice. I would have it in my own company. And by raising the bar, in the past, actually it's 2 years before, they would have just very simple healthy eating information provided, monthly fruits, healthy eating talks. But now, this year, during our award, we see that people have healthy eating cooking section. They have organic farm. They have reward for the healthy eating. They are really giving out small token of money to reward this. We even have meal delivery service for courier company. They deliver the lunch, very healthy lunch, to their workers who are working at remote sites. And of course, we have healthy fruits and snacks. And for physical activity, because we want to promote physical activity for the well-being of the employees, in the past we have just pre-work exercises and team building. Now they have regular exercise. It's daily. They can go to the workplace and have daily yoga, weightlifting exercises, and we encourage them to have more exercise. You can say that they have a stepper in front of the standing desk, and they also have sports facilities and all that. And for mental well-being, in the past it's just workshop and workshop. Nowadays we have employee assistant program that people can call without telling their names, and then they have got assistance. If you're under stress, you just call. This is free of charge provided by many companies nowadays. They have some leisure areas. And the caring leaves are nowadays very prevalent in Hong Kong. This is actually a Japanese company in Hong Kong. And if you fit all the criteria, you can have 25 extra days for 1 year. That is to say that the normal annual leave is 10 days, and then you have 25 extra days for the well-being leave. So the benchmarking really helps. In 2020 we have quite good results, but 2 years after, everybody is doing the best practices. So just for 2 examples, the promotion of caring leaves, in 2020, all the competition, around 70% of the companies are doing this. Now, 50% of the companies are doing this, saying that if you don't have this, most probably you won't have any awards. Finally, we have to talk the employers into doing this. It's not only about ESG, it's not only about responsibility, but actually they can get something out of it. So we are asking those who are entering the competition to say what is the good results of your program, and they said that satisfaction is increase, retention increase, and that sick leave decrease, and they are presenteeism decrease. So it's all very, and when other bosses note about this, they would follow suit. That's all, and hope you all stay healthy, safety, and joyful. Thanks.
はい、ヤオさんありがとうございました。
Oh, Yao-san, thank you very much. So that was pretty intriguing, and the time is going off, time is clicking. So, it's difficult because of the limited time to ask a question to each one of you, but we will try our best to ask at least one question to each one of you. Ujita-san, ILO, especially in the last, you've mentioned Vision Zero Fund, so international cooperation projects you mentioned about, but especially Vision Zero Fund, the supply chains, the EU, so the ensuring the EU's safety and health, and like those corporate relationship you often mentioned, but how do you deploy those? Thank you for your question.
Allow me to answer your question in English this time. Yes, thank you very much for your question regarding the Vision Zero Fund. In fact, this one is very focused on the private sector, because traditionally our approach is through the government, through the employers' organization, but we recognize we have to focus on more workplace level actions. So-called it's not the top down, but bottom up. And we started from listen to the enterprises. And actually, we like to understand, we like to know what is the need, what is the deficit. So we carried out assessment first, and we identified what is their expectation from the support from the ILO. And also, we try to get their incentive. So we like to know what kind of incentive is the motivate employers to improve the safety and health. And finally, the very important factor is the commitment from the top level, high level management through the entire supply chains. So that is our approach through the Vision Zero Fund.
Thank you very much. That was very as a Japanese enterprise, those supply chains, how are we going to work on to the down tiers to the supply chain? We have to think about it as well in Japan. And next, Ho-san, Mr. Ho. So as you have mentioned, so the labor audit or labor inspection is like a legal binding, people would feel, but inspector itself would feel, I think, largely that way. The inspectors or the organization's mindset change, like Vision Zero, the soft side, or the voluntary empower or encourage enterprise-size voluntary movement. How would he change the mindset of the organization? I think it's important. Can you give some perspectives about it?
Thank you very much for the question. This is indeed a perennial challenge of labor inspection. Their role is to inspect and to ensure compliance with the law. And when you talk about getting companies or organizations to improve, especially in areas of Vision Zero, it's very difficult. But here we must realize that there's an assumption. When you are a Vision Zero organization, a Vision Zero organization do not talk about how to comply with the law. They do not interact with you based on that. If they start interacting with you about compliance with the law, they have not reached the level of cultural maturity that can be classified as Vision Zero. So with that as a background, how does a labor inspection then interact with such a company that has a high level of thinking process about making workplaces safe and healthy for their workers, rather than about compliance with the law? So with that context, we are saying that labor inspection should change our mindset as well to how do you address such company. Because if you strictly enforce law for such company, the company say, what am I doing here? I'm doing much better than what the law say. Because law can be only the minimum requirement. So if that's the case, that's why labor inspection for the future, for the sustainable prevention, needs to change their mindset and how they approach such company. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Dr. Tim, I'm going to ask you a question. DGVU, of course, as you have mentioned, it's an insurance structure. And as an insurance DGVU, the social security system, and you have a business aspect as well. And from that perspective, Vision Zero, how do you evaluate, and how do you evaluate yourself of Vision Zero activities?
Thank you for this question as well. Okay, we are an insurance, but we are a public body as well. So we have a pay-as-you-go scheme for financing, and we have no interest in collecting more premiums and spending less. The less we spend is better for the contribution of the enterprises. But there are three aspects I would like to mention here. The first of all is prevention pays off. Generally, we can say this. Second, there are two principles I already introduced here. The better you are in prevention, the less you have to pay and organize and provide in rehabilitation. And the more effective your rehabilitation is, the less you have to pay for compensation. This is good for the businesses at all, and I'm coming to the third point of it, even on the shop floor, the enterprises, they can easily have a guess, and we are providing this information to them, that it's good for their businesses as well. So the benefit is quite obvious. Hans-Horst Konkolewski already mentioned the study which was executed by ISA, the return on prevention, in analogy to the return on investment. And that was the average value, you mentioned, Hans-Horst, 2.2 yen invested. 1 yen invested will bring the benefit of 2.2 yen. So it's quite obvious. The business point of view is it's good for the business, it's good for the people, so it's good for the society. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is a valuable opinion. And last, Ms. Yao. So, health management. There are many companies who's trying to introduce these kind of system. The enterprise voluntary activity is, I think, more important. And there were some examples shared by you. And not only government backs up, but in the business project, how do we, the government, will support? And Japanese government, do you have any Japanese enterprise advice for doing such things?
I just share that some of the Japanese companies actually are doing really well in Hong Kong regarding promoting people's well-being. But for us, I think that for the big enterprise, it's far easier, so to speak, is that you just stress ESG, you stress that it's their corporate social responsibility, and that the consumer expectation is that they have a very high expectation of them, such that this actually we think that is clear. But for the small and medium enterprise, we do think that we need some support for them. We need to empower them. And just like what I said towards the end of my presentation, actually we will have to tell them that it pays off, like what Sven has just said. It really pays off. And nowadays, actually, I think that globally we have very hard time in recruiting people, and retention is very important. And for the companies that are doing well in the well-being programs, actually they have very high retention rate. So we think that we just talk to them about the reasons and encourage them to continue of the good practices. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Yao. So you were right, best practice. Share the best practice, that's right, I think. So there is no more time, and I'd like to wrap up this session A, round table A and round table B. We would wrap up both. And what I want to confirm, like as in the theme, well-being. So globally, top leading organization institutes is facing directly now, and in Japan as well, the well-being. There are many companies started to think about well-being seriously, but how are we going to realize it? How do we embody it? What kind of measures should they take as a Japanese organization? They have to really think about that, and the enterprises. Approach to that project, then that will influence the society as well. And the other thing is, so the law binding part and the companies is voluntary working on. Both taking a good balancing, the best mixture would be something we have to think about it. Like public body, like when you say the well-being, as I've mentioned, companies working on themselves voluntarily as a project is important. So we have to take those legally or legal binding or legal force, and at the same time voluntarily activity. Those balance, we should think about it. And it was almost like posing another question here today instead of finding an answer. But in the afternoon session, those actual examples will be shared. So please enjoy that as well. I would like to close the morning session now. And all the panelist members, please give presenter a big round of hands. Everybody, thank you very much.